Get down. Let me clear my throat. Yeah. Oh, that's better. That's better. Somebody pass around the offering. Since I'm always preaching on tracks, you feel me? I'm not gonna get paid for it. Sermon of the day. You right where you supposed to be, baby. Informant, that information for me. Important, you get a portion of fortune pouring. Confession, fortune, me blessings on now they snoring. You mellow, so focus on scoring. Got your underperforming. I never expect something, never assume nothing. Judging me for my past, but that's why I'm triumphant. I don't demand, I know where I stand like engineer hands. Watch how my life pans. That game plan, show out like a jotter, pop out like a cutter. Telling the quick rock, skipping the country squares like hopscotch. This gonna be my mood to my beat drop. Putting my boogie shoes in my diddy boots, ain't no stop. I'ma make the rest of my life live. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'm gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Yeah, I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'ma make the rest of my life live. I'm gonna make the rest of my life the best of my life. Congratulations on the celebration. I know I'm dope without a need of validation. No congratulations on no celebration.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Happy Thursday, happy Thursday, happy Thursday. How is everybody? I hope your week has been amazing. I know mine has been a little off kilter, but you know what? Hey, we're at Friday Junior, so we're not going to complain, right? Right. We here on what? My favorite night of the week, Thursday night. So welcome to the Bravo with Sheila Network. Tonight it is our usual Thursday night date, and I am glad that you are here with me. I am your Thursday night host, your girl, Lady Dawn B. Glad to be here with you, and I am excited about this show. So, per usual, I'm going to ask you to like, subscribe, and share. I'm looking forward to people coming in the room and being with us on tonight. It's going to be a little bit, people are going to be in and out today. We just going to, we're going to take a 10-minute, this is 10-second disclaimer today. I don't know about you, but today has been the most hectic, unusual day I have experienced in a while. And it seems to have trickled down across everybody, just about everybody that I know. But what I do know is that no matter what happened in the day, guess what? We are here. We are conquerors. We are victorious. And we are ready to win. Now, I also know that usually when the amount of hectic things that go on in the day happen in the day that falls on a Thursday, that usually lets me know that the conversation that we are about to have is really going to help somebody. Y'all know, although the Bravo with Sheila Network is not a Christian network, we are loving, appreciating, and receiving everyone, your beliefs, your feelings, whatever your moral compass is, and we respect that. But myself, I am a God's girl, so you're going to get a little bit of Jesus when you get me. So I usually get the feeling that usually something is up and there's a conversation that doesn't want to, be released into the atmosphere because it's actually going to help somebody. But we've learned to press on anyway, right? We ain't scared over here on the Bravo with Sheila Network. We ain't no punks. We stand 10 toes down and we hold it down. So I just want to encourage you, if you've had a rough day, take 20 seconds, exhale, and jump in and join this great conversation. So like, subscribe, and share. Please invite your friends, bring your girls, bring your guys. It's going to be good. And as always, we want to say good evening to everyone. So I see that our amazing moderator, the best in the game, okay, she sets the standard when it comes to moderation. It is the lady in Kenya. Good evening, beautiful. So glad you are here tonight and good to see you. And we want to say hello to those who are in the silent section, the expensive seats, as we call it. Ask you to just come on down to the comment section. I promise you, it is safe. We have security down here. No one's going to hurt you. It's okay. It's all right. We want to hear what you have to say on tonight, and we want to share some good information with you. So As always, again, I'm going a little, it's a little, we it's that kind of day. But we want to pay homage to our favorite lady, the queen of Bravo herself, the person and the person of Pastor Sheila Ingram, who so graciously, my Auntie Bravo, yields me this captain's chair every Thursday night to come and share with you. And I see we have Destiny Temple Ministries in the house. What is good? What is happening, Pastor Jones and Lady Jones? It's good to see y'all. I'm hoping y'all be able to tap in for a moment when you get a chance and be a part of this good old conversation here. We also have the psalmist voice, Pastor Chris. He is in the house on tonight, and if they get a moment, I'm sure they'll be able to come up and join us and share in the conversation if they have time. We have my network mate, my sister, half of the greatest writing group ever to exist on this side of heaven. The person of she is the Monday night co-host here on the Bravo with Sheila Network. Mondays Beyond the Mic. The lady, Coach Pache Felton is in the building. Hey, sis. Now, listen, y'all make sure y'all tune in on Monday nights too, okay? Because they got some good combo going on over there. I promise you, if you love Thursday nights here, you're going to love Monday nights there. If you love Monday nights there, you're going to love Thursday nights here. And if you need a little spiritual encouragement, some enlightenment, if you are in need of an uplifting moment, again, while this side of the street is not the Christian side, although, again, we do bring some Jesus with us. If you go right across the street, right across, you can't miss it, right across the street is the Sheila Ingram Ministries Network. And over there, you get all the good word that you can imagine. She has the Kabbalah. She has the Women of Grace. She's on just sharing words of knowledge, comfort. There's prayer. There's worship. There's sing. I mean, it's just so much. Listen, I encourage you to go over there and you will find your peace if you go across the street. Come on, tap your neighbor, say, find your peace, and go across the street to the Sheila Ingram Ministries channel. So on tonight, we do it all. And I mean, wait, right across the street, one or the other. So on tonight, for the month of June, I wanted to take the opportunity to honor our men because it's Father's Day, right? So let's give our men a big old round of applause because we love them, we appreciate them, and we want to support them even better. So for the entire month of June, we are going to be honoring our men in every conversation. Although this is the first Thursday, which is usually our ladies' room night, where, you know, us ladies, we come on and we talk all everything ladies. On tonight, it is still the ladies' room, but we are making a little room. We're giving some little passes to some of our men folk to come on in and share with us because we want them to feel honored. We want them to feel special and appreciated because we truly do love them. So on tonight, our conversation is going to kick off this series called It's a Man's World. We all know that it is a man's world. You know, it wouldn't be nothing the song says without a woman in it, which is true. However, on tonight, we want to touch, in this month, we want to touch on some topics and some spaces that are going to help us to learn how to embrace, how to share, how to support, and how to love our men better. Okay, is that all right? I hope that's all right. Because men get mad. They be talking about they only get one day. You know, they don't, it's Father's Day. It's not a big of a deal like Mother's Day. People don't go all out, and that's true. And we don't want to give them the same pair of socks. We don't want to give them the same tie. We don't want to give them the new spatula for their grill. We don't want to buy them, you know, no oil for their car. We want to give them men something that they can use, okay? We want to make sure that we are giving the men something that they can use. And one of the things that I've been hearing men can use is the support. It is support, it is love, it is appreciation, but most of all, they want to be heard and they want to be respected. So tonight's topic, while we are talking about It's a Man's World, we have a question on the table, which we're asking our men, which is, how are you feeling? Now, before I get into the conversation, I want to bring up those who are here with us already on tonight to lend their voices to this conversation. So I'm going to bring up the first ladies room squad member in the person of Lady Deshawn Bill. Come on up, sis. How you doing tonight?
Hello, 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 everybody. I'm
How's
excited
everything?
about this conversation. I'm excited to have the conversation, and most of all, I want to hear what the fellas have to say. I heard that they're in the room tonight, and I want to hear their opinion. I want to hear
Yes,
their
ma'am.
opinion.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we gave them a pass because normally the men folk aren't allowed in the ladies' room. Summer's voice says, Pastor Chris said, "Do you really want to know?" Uh,
You know
yes,
I do, bruh. Yes, I want to know. I
we
want.
do. We do. We want to know. We want to know. That's why we're asking. A lot of times you ask somebody, "How are you feeling?" and we really don't hang around for the answer. But on tonight, we want to pause. We want to talk about this with the men and figure out and hear from you. How are you feeling? Because we want to be able to support you properly. So we are looking forward to this conversation. We don't claim to know it all. We are not experts. We are on here. We are sharing from our wells of life and our experience. We are hoping to gain some understanding so that we can improve relationships with each other. But most importantly, the main relationship we want to improve is the one with ourselves. And when we stop through this conversation to learn, to listen, to hear what someone is saying, it will cause us to be more empathetic to their situations and just be a listening ear. So, before we proceed on tonight, there is a special guest in this house that I am super excited to have. She is no stranger at all. When I tell you at all, I mean at all. She is amazing. I could boast on her all day and night. I love her dearly. I wouldn't be here in this space if it was not for her. I adopted her as my auntie. I don't even know how long ago. It don't even matter. I'm not counting. I just know that she's mine forever. But I will share her with you all on tonight. She is amazing. Okay. She is licensed. She is a counselor. She is a pastor. She is a writer. She is a playwright. She is a let's see, what else does she do? She's a minister. She's, as I say, a psalmist. She has a single out. She has a CD. Just everything, y'all. So without further ado, I'm gonna bring our special guest to the floor because I could not think of anybody else that we could have to share in this conversation and add her gems. And she is the person of Pastor Sheila Ingram, the queen bee of Bravo. So when she comes up, y'all, I'm trying to tell you because I fight y'all tonight. Y'all best to put some love up in the comment section, okay? Come on up here, Auntie Bravo. Thank you for coming. I'm so excited.
Oh,
I know I'm extra. I just love you
oh,
so much.
I love you back. I love you back. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. She
How
is
are you?
amazing. I'm good. I'm
It's
good.
good to
I
see
am
you.
feeling great. You too. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, and I'm not sorry. I will absolutely boast on everything that she is because you don't
Oh,
even know. Just
mm,
amazing. Always dropping gems and so graceful. I just fell in love with her the first time I saw her, and God just said, "There's something in her for me." And I did not know who she was. I didn't. I had heard her sing once before. I heard her name, but when she sang and ministered that day, I was all in love. Yeah, I sure was. I had what is that? Was you like a groupie? I was like I just loved her. I was like just drawn. So she is the queen bee and curator of this amazing space known as the Bravo with Sheila Network. So y'all do me a favor, y'all give her some love in these here comments because without her, we wouldn't be here, okay?
oh
So
my
we
goodness.
appreciate you, Auntie, coming to lend to this conversation. And I see another ladies' room squad member. I don't want to start the conversation without them, but we're gonna get started in a second. She is a part of the Love Marriage Ministry segment. Her and her husband come on and they share, they keep it raw, they keep it real, they tell us like it is, and we share so that we can be iron that sharpens iron and get some of those sharp edges off us so we can live long and love each other, right? So come on up here, Lady Rhonda is in the house. What's good, sis? I'm glad you made it.
Girl, let me tell you, juggling with these babies here, these grandkids is a lot. Woo,
Listen,
they tire
it's the
me
next
out.
generation. It's the next generation. It got you. It got you. Well,
They,
I'm
they
glad
got me
you
all right.
ladies. Don't worry, you didn't come this far just to come this far. You gonna make it. You gonna make it. You
Ah,
got this.
bye.
And we just want to greet a few more people in the comment section before we get started. Oh, we have one of the women of grace up in the building. I call her my mama. She did push me out. I am 404, literally in every sense of the word. But you may know her as Pastor Rosa. She is on the Sheila Ingram across the street. Y'all, I'm telling you, go across the street, whichever, either way, it don't matter. You get just cross the street to the Sheila Ingram Ministry channel. She is on Tuesday mornings, I believe at 10 or 11 a.m. And she is sharing the word at 10. Tuesdays at 10 a.m. So you get it all here. You get it all. She is in the person of Pastor Rosa, aka Mama Rosa. She says, good evening. She says she is everything. Talking about Pastor Sheila. She is everything. Y'all better know it. This lady here, my God, she got a whole lot in her pot and she's not afraid to share, and I love it. So, ladies, on tonight, we're hoping some of our men will be able to come on and join and share at some point and just be a part of this dialogue. Excuse me, but we want to get it started. So, on tonight, our topic is how are you feeling? And again, for those of you who just tuned in, please like, subscribe, and share. It is so important. Your support is important. It is, as Pastor Sheila says, what, free 99. That means it costs you nothing to share, to like, and to subscribe. But it helps us with everything in so many ways. Help us to push this great content out and to help us get our numbers up where we need to be so we can keep bringing you all this good stuff. So anyway, on tonight, again, our question is, how are you feeling? And this question came about through different conversations that I've had and heard with our men. There seems to be the general consensus amongst the men that, we've all heard this and we've all experienced this. I'm sure if you've been around any man in your entire life, you hear that, from a child, they're taught they're not supposed to cry. They are taught, boys don't cry, men don't cry, suck it up. You're not a girl, wipe your face, what you crying for, all those things. And it becomes engrafted in them throughout their lives so that they become conditioned to suppressing their feelings and their emotions before they even have a chance to even identify them and explore them. Then what happens is as they get older, they get into relationships with women such as myself and yourself. And sometimes we add on to the conditioning that they have been taught all this time to suppress their feelings, to not express, because you're not a man if you do. You're not allowed to shed a tear if it's not a funeral or, some other traumatic event. And even then, you're expected to cry for 20 seconds, wipe it off, shake it off, and keep it moving. And that is such a grave injustice. And it's to the point where when we get into relationships with them as grown men and they have an emotion, we then become desensitized, or we become conditioned and desensitized. And our responses sometimes will be, well, what are you crying for? Or now you a girl, or we call them soft. I know there's a lot of us that have been there. We may not want to admit it, but those are some of the responses that we've said. And the truth of the matter is that we have to stop supporting that narrative. We have to change that narrative. We have to help our men get to a place of understanding what they're feeling and understanding that you could be with a grown man that doesn't know how to identify what he's feeling because as a child, he was never given the tools to do so. But it's important because our men are dealing with so much stress and so much pressure that where else can they let it out? So we want to give space to gain some understanding so that we're asking our men, how are you feeling? And then stick around for the answer. So I've said a whole lot right now, and I want to pass it on. I'm going to ask Pastor Sheila if she wants to start us off and share. She does an amazing, is it the personality? I get it wrong every time I say it wrong, but I love this assessment that she does. So come on, Pastor Sheila, give us some help and some insight.
Well, first I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the broadcast tonight. Thank you for inviting me to come and join you. I'm usually on the other side behind the scenes, right? I'm usually in the
Yes.
background watching you or whatever. You've been doing a wonderful job. You've been really, really, you're good. Yes, yes, yes. I no longer have to open for you. You do your own thing. So I want to say thank you so much.
I'm
Thank you
growing up.
so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, niece, for inviting me to talk with you, to share with you. I like to say good evening to those in the bleachers, in the balcony, or maybe, niece, they bought an expensive ticket, right? And they're in the orchestra.
Laughing.
Nevertheless, they're here, right? They're here. I want to say hello to the chat, everyone in the chat. Of course, whenever I walk in the room and my children are in the room, I acknowledge them. So I acknowledge my daughter, Pache, who's in the chat. I salute my daughter and say thank you for being here and everyone else who is here. I'm excited to share tonight. I'm excited because it excites me to talk about things that people struggle with, myself walking through what I had to walk through in my own life. I have been a licensed professional clinical counselor for over 30 something years. And I have been helping. I know I'm called to people, but I know women is really my lane. And I have been working with women and men as well. And some years ago, I went through a really bad marriage, a divorce, and everything. And I wanted to learn more about me. And fortunately, but unfortunately, I was in a church where sometimes you're in a church and you see elders around and people around, but there's no one to go to really help you
Mhm.
walk through something. And especially if you're in ministry, the spotlight is on you and judgment is around you, and everyone expects you to have this perfect walk. And so, fortunately for me, I found a wonderful counselor. His name, God bless him, he has gone home to be with the Lord. And I found a Christian counseling center in New York City, New York Christian Counseling Association. And I went there, I was referred, and God placed me in the hands of the CEO of the counseling center, Pastor Terrell, incredible man of God. And as I was there, I wanted to learn more about me. I knew that 90%, this is funny, I knew that 90% I was good in the marriage, right? I knew 90% belonged to him. 10% I would own, right? But but we got to realize that 10% could collapse something as well, based on what
True.
the 10% you're dealing with. And while in counseling and wanting these breakthroughs to learn more about myself, I was introduced to all of these different counseling techniques. And I tell you, as soon as I got there and I did this particular temperament profile, I was set free on the spot. I got answers. And I know for all of us, that is what we're looking and searching for is answers. We always wonder why I keep doing, especially women. Why do I do what I do? Keep doing what I do. I haven't learned a lesson. Why I keep moving around and around? And so after taking this profile and getting the results from it in real time, I learned and understood my behavior. I understood why I do what I do or did what I did. And I stopped from that very day saying, what's wrong with me? One of the main things that we deal with is the lack of understanding the trueness of who we are for real, because we all come through traumatic experiences. We have learned behavior, we have environmental impact, there's culture within culture. There's all of these things that shape us and mold us. And when we become women and have relationships, each a man and a female comes with different luggage. Some people come with a 5-piece, some come with a 2-piece. Nevertheless, we come with a piece of something, right? And based on
Yes,
what
ma'am.
that something is, right, we have to look in the mirror and identify it to crucify it. And like we said, this is not a Christian platform, but we all Christian Bible girls, right? And
Yes,
so we know
ma'am.
how to be balanced in the word and be balanced to speak to whoever we're speaking to. I always say that our platforms are seeker friendly. This program, this network is seeker friendly, as well as across the street. with the ministry channel, where we want people to come in and learn from us, as well as see the love of Christ that's shed abroad in our hearts, right? So as I began to
Yes, ma'am.
learn more, as I began to learn more and get delivered on the spot, just moving and learning and growing, understanding my behavior, going all the way back from the child that I was in a house with a father who was an alcoholic, a mother who was a grinder, all these different things, having my first child at 15 years old, interrupting my growth. All of these things shape you and mold you, and then you run into yourself at a certain point. And so as I began to learn this, I always remember before, in my BC days, when we would be out, my friends would be, where's Sheila? She over there being somebody's counselor. She's over there helping someone. That gift was already there, right? God always will reveal to us what we're called to do, whether we're in Christ or out of Christ. It's always that thing that's poking at you. And so after learning all about and going through my counseling and really, really growing and understanding me, the temperament profile shows you your strengths and your weaknesses. It shows you your needs and your wants. And you can't guess what somebody is, although their behavior may appear to be the same as mine. You and I could have the same temperament, but my behavior may be a little different from yours based on where I was born, based on where I grew up, based on my culture. Our needs are the same, but our behavior will exemplify something else. And so this temperament profile, I don't want to jump around. I want to bounce around as you bounced me around, but the temperament, and I have my notes here so I can give, people want to know the real, definitions. I do have some notes. There are 4 temperaments, and I don't want to get into that yet until you guide me there. But I do want to say that 4 temperaments is, the temperament refers to the blending of natural traits or tendencies which a person is born with. And it is a part of their personality and their needs. It shapes us. Temperament is also a need which drives and motivates people to act according to their natural tendencies. So when you were talking about men and we're talking about relationship, I find that I've had people come that was ready for divorce because they just didn't understand each other. They had been married a long time, but something was off. They got married and still really didn't mesh together because they didn't know each other's needs and wants. They didn't understand each other's strengths and weaknesses, and didn't understand that there are different needs and wants. And when we don't have a clear picture or knowing, we guess. And when we guess with human beings, we get off track. When we guess because you made a certain move, and I'm in my mind saying that's why you did that, it may not be that. So when you learn, when couples learn, when women learn, when people learn how they are wanted, what happens then is they give themselves a break. They stop giving the guilt trip. They embrace who they are. They embrace the weaknesses and the strength. They allow God to make the weakness a strength, and they live out of the strengths. And see, when we don't understand these things, people get divorced for no reason. People clash for no reason because they're guessing because of how you met. But when I think this is one of the best gifts that you can give yourself besides Christ, is to understand you. When people come to me, by the time they leave me, I always make them say, you never in your life will say, what's wrong with me? Because women, we say that all the time. What's wrong with me? We're identifying and accepting the thing that is not really broken or wrong. We just don't understand how God wired us. And in Psalm 139, it talks about the knitting in the mother's womb. It talks about how we were wrought in the deepness, that we're fearfully and wonderfully made. This balance shows us that God had intention of wiring us and placing a temperament and who we are in our mother's womb. But when we're born into this sinful nature, we get twisted and turned up and everything. So men and women lose track of one another or think they know. You can be married for 25 years and your mate still don't really know you. They know what you do, what you're called to do, what you went to school to do, but do you know me? Do you really know me? And so if we're not vulnerable, right? This word that you guys are saying. And if we're not trusting, and by the time women get to certain relationships, we've had so many broken relationships possibly that our trust has been tampered with. And maybe the person that is alongside of us now, we hold back from being who we need to be because a person really does not understand. And I'm not talking about love language at all. I'm talking about needs and wants and strengths and weaknesses. And we'll get into the four temperaments to break down. But that's really the breakdown, I think, of women, single women, married women, men, where men are not understood. Like you said, we have women who think, as you said, a man that cries, we'll call him weak. That's damaging. That's damaging. And maybe he's different, not weak. Maybe he's an introvert. So there's four temperaments. Two are extrovert temperaments and two are introverted temperaments. Now, do we know? And everyone has a blend, right? So then we need to understand how we're wired. So I'll yield and follow your lead as we break open what this is all about.
I told y'all she was everything. Mama says she was everything. She is everything. She means this thing. And I thought this piece was so important when it gets to the part and the point of talking about how are you feeling, because without knowing this about yourself, it's hard to even it's hard to understand how you're supposed to express. Like you said, some things you might think is weird or it's wrong, and it's not. It's just there's nothing wrong with you because you're not supposed to be like everybody else is. You are the combination of you, like you said, that God created. And there's a reason why you are reacting and responding or managing yourself this way. And when we understand that about ourselves, and then we consider that fact in other people, we can understand how to relate to one another better. Okay, when he does this, it's not that. It's because he's wired this way. So when I understand that, it's not that you are lashing out because you really are mad or, you're vicious. It's because that's just how you're driven. You might be passionate and it comes out in that way,
Yes.
And you as a woman are super sensitive. You need to be mindful that you're with a man who is extra passionate. So he comes out very strong,
Yes.
finding that balance and where you need to adjust. Oh, this is so good to my soul.
And also, niece, also when you do find out how you're wired, when you find out and understand that there's nothing wrong with me, right? You understand and accept how God wired you. What happens at that point is you wake up. And when you wake up, you stop allowing people to violate you and you stop violating yourself. Now that's the break right there. That's the break right there. When you learn, when someone comes, listen, the violation has to stop. And when you wake up and you realize how you're wired, then you understand how you move. You understand what triggers you. You understand. So when you're married or not married or even single and getting ready to get married, you don't allow people to violate you no more. You don't allow people to say, this is wrong with you and woman, you this. No, because I woke up. God woke me up and this is how I'm wired. And it may be the weakness that someone is noticing, but you're working on the weakness for it to become a strength. So the violation is even stop violating yourself by accepting something you already went through, that you already dealt with, that is a violation of how you're wired. Why you want to do that again? Why?
I love this lady, y'all. I love this lady. That's what I'm saying. She be behind the scenes, but she got all the nuggets in the gym. We had to bring her out tonight. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Stop violating yourself. Stop violating yourself, Dawn. Stop it. Tell yourself. Put it in the chat. I know we're not in church, but I feel churchy. Put it in the chat. Stop violating myself. Welcome tonight, Landon Price. We're going to continue this great conversation. I'm telling you, we are half an hour in, and I am I'm full and I'm hungry at the same time because this is some good stuff. We're going to get some understanding tonight. Landon says, great information because some people, and I think he continues to tell me, don't give one another a chance. Break up for nothing. Exactly. But a lot of times it's a lot of miscommunication and wrongful expectations. We oftentimes expect us out of other people, but we're not wired the same way, and the differences really should bring balance at the end of the day, not conflict is, what I believe. Let's see. Pastor Rosa says, I'm woke. I don't listen, y'all. Pastor Rose has been hanging out. I'm telling you. Okay, I gotta stop by for a second. Y'all gotta go over to the Sheila Ingram Ministry channel. Okay, y'all have to go there on Fridays. I think 11 when the Women of Grace are on because Pastor Sheila, Pastor Rosa, and Reverend Jenny. These women, when I promise you, you're gonna see a whole nother side of them over there. Go over there. It is alive. I promise. Catch the replay if you can't get there. But they are awesome. Mommy talk about I'm woke. You better be woke, man. Now let me switch back to my host position. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to pause.
Okay.
Pastor Jones says, wow, that was deep. You have to know yourself. And the hardest part is getting other people to know you. That is true. And I also believe that it is the hardest part. The reason why it's the hardest part is getting other people to know you is because we keep giving people partial versions of ourselves because we won't get to know our whole self. Then when you get to know your whole self, you still are not as confident in your whole self. So you're still pulling back pieces of you because we want to be accepted. But I found that you will never really be accepted until you come to the floor full throttle in everything that you are. Don't worry about what you're not, because people will be able to either learn how to manage your authenticity or they will drop away, which you don't need. You won't be carrying dead weight in wrong relationships. But that's so true. You do have to get to know yourself. And Pastor Jones said, knowing yourself is freedom. Yes, sir. It sure is. Free yourself to be your whole self. Yes, sir. And Nay says, I think people walk away too easily. We do. We give up. I find we walk away. It's easy to walk away from others so easily because we do not stand 10 toes down in ourselves.
Yeah. And because you don't understand each other, you don't understand my needs. Because remember, your temperament is your needs and your wants. You may, for instance, real quickly, I had a couple come in, and one was an extrovert and one was an introvert, and they had been married a while. And every year he would go to this Christmas party that she hated to go to. This year she got tired of it. So she's like, he does this all the time. He always wants to go out. All I want to do is stay home. He wants to go out and I don't really want. And so he would continuously go out. So that planted a seed in her mind that he had somebody outside the house. It planted a seed that he's seeing somebody else, right? Why is he always going out and leaving me here? When actuality, he needs people and she didn't. He needed to be out around people and she didn't want to be around people. So right there, the signal is messed up. It's lost. The communication is broken down because neither one of them understand the importance that if I don't go out, you're violating me. You're violating what I need. I need people. She, on the other hand, didn't really need people. So now they want a divorce. And I'm like, but wait a minute. And in the comments, and they says, I think people walk away too easily, right? And so that's what jarred my memory. And yes, but when you have lack of understanding, and this is what you go through in your marriage with little things that become big things, somebody's getting tired because they're being violated. And so we're in this session and we're talking and I'm like, so listen, guys, let's just take this profile. Because I think if you take this profile, you're going to understand so much about your wife that you was assuming. And likewise, he's going to, vice versa. Right. So they took the profile and I'm waiting because they answer, you just pick words. It's not a big deal. You just pick words. And after we finish, I score it. And I'm like shaking my head because I'm like, I figured that. Okay. So after I explain what the temperaments are, what the wife is and what he is, they look at each other after I break it down. They laughed. They said, that's it. I said, that's it. So where do we go from here? Compromise. If he wants to go out and he likes to hang out and just go dancing or whatever, and you like to stay home with Netflix and popcorn leaning on his shoulder, how about 2 weekends you go with him and 2 weekends he stay with you? There's the compromise for the marriage because both temperaments now are being met. You will get your temperament met in a godly way or an ungodly way. I don't care who you are, because God wired you that way. You had nothing to do with the wiring system.
Right.
And so this couple walks away. They're happily married. They're doing their thing. But they're so blessed and grateful that they had the understanding of why he needs people and why she doesn't. And it's like, and they were saying, people walk away too easy, right? And so once sharing this with them, they wind up understanding, growing together, not violating each other now, understanding, oh, she's quiet now, let me give her space, right? Because introverts need their space. She says, okay, babe, I see you later, go on with the boys. So now she's not doubting his allegiance to her because she's allowing him to get what he needs.
Right.
And it's so simple. But it's communication and compromise. Understanding my needs may not be what your needs are. Introverts and extroverts have two different needs. And when you're ready, I can break them down so people can understand the four temperaments. I think you have your people fell off. I don't know if they dropped off or
two of them. I think two of them fell off, but that's okay. We got some people in the arsenal. We had, we broke the girl code today, and we invited some of the men because it's their month. So we want to hear from them at the same time and help us understand.
Wait, so Pastor Rose is in here.
We'll bring back up. Let's see. We had Lady Deshawn. We're gonna bring her.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you breaking up. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Can you hear us?
Okay, I'm sorry.
I can hear you, Pastor Sheila.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Yes. Y'all know these mountains start mountaining. So welcome, ND. Dr. ND is in the house tonight.
Hey.
How you doing, sis? You good?
If I can get rid of sounding like George Bush, I'll be all right. Yeah, your internet is delayed, Elder Dawn.
Yeah.
I've been sick all week.
All right, we're gonna work.
Let me see if I can help her out and see if I can help her out some.
Thank you, ma'am. There we go. We got Deshawn back, and we have Pastor Chris in the house. Welcome, Pastor Chris. Say hello to the people as we continue in this conversation before we go further.
What's good, family? I'm in the building. Yeah, this is an interesting conversation, to say the least. And of course, salute to all the men out there. We finally get a month, at least, on the Sheila Ingram Network. I'm just saying, salute, just saying. But again, Dr. ND in the building, this lady Deshawn in the building, and of course, the distinguished Sheila Ingram in the building, and of course, your Thursday night hosts with the most, Lady Dawn B. So I'm just happy to be here, and I'm glad that I'm representing the men's lounge in some way, shape, or form. But y'all know how I get down, so I'm ready. Let's get it. Let's go.
All right. Well, we are glad that you are here. Your other men's lounge congregants are also in the comments. I know Pastor Jones is out there. This month we opened up the door. Like I said, we just did a little crack, we did a little violation, gave them a little pass to let them share in the conversations, because we don't want it to just be one-sided. We want to also understand and hear. But everything that Pastor Sheila said has been so amazing. And it's nuggets. Like I'm full just from that, but at least you want more. And look who is in the house. My other auntie, my AKA Auntie Gangsters in the building. Reverend Jeannie is here on tonight. Thank you. The third part of the Women of Grace is here. I'm telling y'all, you don't want Tune In Friday. These three ladies break down the word, and they are funny and they keep it real. And I love it. I love every bit of it. But So thank you for joining us on tonight, everybody. Like, subscribe, and share. I want to continue in the conversation. I want to open it up. Lady Deshawn, come on and share on this good topic, on what we've discussed so far, what you've heard, how are you feeling. Share with us on tonight, ma'am.
Listen, this is good. I had to go grab my notebook and my pen because I had to take some notes. And everything, Pastor Sheila, that you have said is so true. And during the time when I was going through a divorce was the time where I had to see me and figure out who I was. And in that time, it helped prepare me for being married now. Me and my husband couldn't be more different than the sun and the moon, and together and compromise and find a medium between us. He is always
She's breaking up.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with staying home. I'm okay with being out, but I understand that that's a part of the things that he needs. One of the things that I wrote down is that when you don't listen to the man that you're in relationship, or men in general, as women, we tend not to listen to them tell us what it is that they need. And even if we're not understanding what it is that they need or what they're trying to tell us, we don't ask. We don't ask. And a lot of times men don't feel comfortable with telling us what they need. They feel like we should know. We should learn them and pay attention the way they learn us and pay attention to us. But as women, sometimes it's not that simple. And what we do is we try to love a man or care for a man in the way we want to love and be cared for. And that's not always what they need. And it is only once you get to the point where you're bumping heads and both parties feel like you're not getting what you need and what you deserve, that you finally come to the table and figure out, oh, well, I thought since I like affection and touching all the time, I thought you liked it too. You don't want me to kiss and hug on you all day long? No, you rather me go get you a cup of water or cut the grass for you or something. Like, it's different. And there's a huge difference, but you would never know until you start to have those conversations and actually listen to what the men are telling you. So many times we just run with what it is that we want and what we think is the right thing, and we never give them that space to tell us what they need. Or me and my husband have been through this round around in circles. He doesn't feel appreciated. He doesn't feel like any care things that he does to go above and beyond for our family. And in the beginning, I'm like, I tell you, thank you all the time. What do you mean? When you did it, I did this. And it was like, that wasn't saying I appreciate you to him. And I had to learn the things that show him that we appreciate him. And I'm still learning, because there is never a one and done. It's a constant evolution as long as the relationship is alive. So that was really, really, really good. And to stop violating yourself, oh my goodness. We could talk all day about stop violating yourself and allowing people to put you in a situation where you're triggered, right? Mm-hmm. Once you know the things that bother you and the things that you are not completely healed from, or things that you still like, all right, I don't even want to listen to this conversation because I might curse at somebody. When you know what those things are, you stop allowing people to pull you into those spaces, and stop allowing people to pull you into the spaces that they feel like you're not healed from. When you know, hey, I've done, close that book, that chapter is done, I'm not discuss it anymore. But people being people, and they don't always have the inside track to your healing, your process, and the things that you've moved on from. They want to keep you in that space because that's where they're comfortable at with you. That's where they know you. And that's how they feel like they can communicate and push your buttons. And you have to let them know, like, yeah, I'm not talking about that anymore. I'm done. Did you see the baseball game today? And when you get to that point, that's when you can stop violating yourself, and others will learn that they have to respect your boundary as well.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm ready to hear more about what it is that the men need from us and how we can change to give them what they need.
That's really good. That's really good.
I was done with it. I was ready to sign off with the stop violating yourself. That was it. That was enough for me. I was about to be without a Thursday night.
Listen, pass the collection plate, because that took us to church.
Okay, get the juice. and the napkin and the towel. Just towel. Get her driver. Make sure. Okay, 'cause that was
Yes.
it for me. Yes, ma'am. So I wanna give space for everyone. I don't know how much time Pastor Sheila is able to lend with us. I wanted her to come in and pop in. But I don't want anyone to, I don't want y'all to go nowhere because we don't continue this conversation. So I want to give space for her to share some more. So ND, Lady Rhonda, Pastor Chris, hang tight. Don't move. We want to get all the good nuggets, and then we can dissect them in case she has to drop it, because she's very busy. She's a very busy woman. She's sought after, highly sought after. Okay, and you see why now. You see why. So far we've been given some good starter information, and again, it's important for us when we're asking our men to pause. It's important that we pause to ask our men, "How are you feeling?" With the understanding that sometimes they don't even know how to identify it or how to express it, because as children they were never given that space and opportunity to even tap into it, acknowledge it, and walk through it and develop it. So we as women sometimes think that men are emotionally immature or unavailable. It's not that. We have to learn differently how to navigate that space with our men so that we can understand even when they're not as verbal. So I think then that's why I think this temperament piece is so important in us helping to understand who it is that we are dealing with and who we are and how we get along. So Pastor Sheila, I want to leave you space to take us from here and share in whatever direction you want to. So I hope y'all are all taking your notes, because again, I said she's very busy, and we got to. She's highly sought after. Y'all stop playing. So I want to make sure we get all the good info, and then we can chop it up and share some more after. Because at 8:30 it turns into Lady Dawn B After Dark. Something else takes over.
Well, this is funny. This is so good. Listen. So what I'd like to do now is just to kind of break down some of the temperaments, right? The two extrovert temperaments and the two introvert temperaments. And I made some notes so that, I know it from my head like this because it's a passion and it's something that's embedded in me, but I want to give it to you straight from some literature and some notes that I made. So I want to talk about first the two temperaments, the two extrovert temperaments. Now, the temperament are needs and wants and strengths and weaknesses. And each temperament has a blend. Whatever you score on a temperament profile, that top number is your main temperament. And then the next one falls up under that. So I want to start with the choleric. The choleric is an extroverted temperament. And the choleric is a very strong temperament. And just let me read a little bit to you, and then you'll get a fuller understanding. Remember, it's based on learned behavior and environmental impact. I could be a choleric and Dawn could be a choleric, but Dawn could be raised in the suburbs and I could be raised in the hood. And although we have the same needs and wants, our behavior will be totally different. So you might not be able to guess that she's a choleric and I'm a choleric because we probably respond differently, but our needs and wants are the same. Because why? Because God wired us this way, right? Okay, so the choleric person is extroverted, driven to get results, and will not give into the pressures of what others think unless they cannot get a quick result. They are slow to build relationships and tend to have only a few close friends because results are more important than people. Choleric is known to be the strongest temperament out of the four. In studies, it says that the only way the choleric temperament can be intervened or changed is by the Holy Spirit, by God himself, because cholerics tend to be right when they're wrong, right? So cholerics are leaders. Cholerics, if I go on a trip and you go on a trip, but when you come back, the choleric has ran your company, her company, her company. They have great leadership skills, but they are so strong with their mouth. They can cut people with their mouth, although their heart is good. They don't have time for tears. They don't have time. They'll get the job done. That's the choleric. Every temperament has a strength and a weakness, right? It's no good or bad. They think big and seek positions of authority, right? The choleric does not easily empathize with the feeling of others or show compassion, although they can be compassionate. And the choleric tends to not be angry, although their assertive push to get results may be interpreted as such. They are strong. If you work with a choleric, if a choleric is your supervisor, more than likely people on the team won't like the choleric, because the choleric just wants to get the job done. The choleric has great leadership skills, and they too have to learn that everyone is not wired like them. The choleric make the other temperaments cringe because they're so strong and powerful in the way they move. But one thing that I always remember about cholerics, if I'm trained by a choleric and move to another job, when I get to that other job, someone's going to ask me, who trained you? Because I'm going to be so on it, because this is the type of leadership that they are. These are cholerics. And the choleric temperament has 3 combinations. I won't get into that, but the choleric may be altered or modified in some significant way. So there's a strong choleric, a moderate choleric, based on the other temperaments. That is your blend, if that makes sense to you. That's the extrovert. I got to move on because I could lay in this stuff forever and ever and ever. So let me move on. So we know that the choleric is an extrovert, and each temperament is needs and wants, strengths and weaknesses, no good or bad. Let's talk about the sanguine. The sanguine is an extrovert temperament. Those are the people that love the people. They come to the club, they come to the church. I have arrived. Hey, blah, 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 blah. The sanguine is all over the place. The sanguine is the people person. The sanguine you will find in the pulpit. Because why? Sanguines need people. Sanguine needs an audience. Remember, your needs have to be met. They must be met, or else the violation will come in, right? So the sanguine they're very different from cholerics. People with a sanguine temperament are naturally people-oriented and do not need a reason to be with other people. Remember that story I was telling you about? The husband was a sanguine. He had to go where the people were so he would not be violated, sitting on the couch watching Netflix. Right? And so the sanguine is extroverted, fun-loving, playful, activity-prone, impulsive, entertaining, persuasive, easily amused, and optimistic. The sanguine typically builds relationships quickly. These are people who have a host of friends. These are people who need friends. These are people who when you go to their house, people are in and out of their house. Imagine being married to a sanguine and you're an introvert. Oh my God. And you come home and the neighbor's in your house and the girl and the kid down the block is in your house, because sanguines need people. But that partner is probably going crazy because they came home to have peace and quiet. So you understand how things can get so misinterpreted when you don't understand how each other's are wired.
Pastor Sheila, it's like you looking in my window. Not to interrupt you, but that's you looking in our window. You described us both in this whole little segment. You don't even have to go any further. So y'all see what I'm dealing with.
My God. Oh my goodness.
This kind. That's all I'm gonna say, LaShawn. This kind.
Listen, I'm telling you, the
she read me and him.
Because they're easily bored. Sanguines are easily bored if not involved in social activity. This could get on somebody's nerve if you don't understand where they're coming from. You could be like, I'm sick of you. I am tired of this. And they'd be like, baby, what? Because they don't have a clue. They're not doing anything but being what? Feeding their temperament, their needs, right? So now the sanguine dislikes solitude. So see, this is where in every temperament, we need the Holy Spirit, right? We need the anchor. In every temperament, there must be an anchor. There must be the Holy Spirit to guide us and show us and cause us to grow in the things of God. And what we can do, we rest on God to help us turn the weakness into a strength. Their attention span, the sanguine, is based on whether or not they are interested in the person or the event. And they can change their focus or interest in an instant if they become bored. They're like all over the place. Look at, she's laughing.
You're reading the whole panel tonight.
And I'm just giving snapshots because remember, every temperament has a blend. But your high point, if you took this temperament profile and got a 23 and a sanguine and say 20 and a melancholy, that means that person is highly extroverted, but also can be introverted. And then that means their partner could be totally confused if they're not understanding how they're wired, right?
Listen, we gonna need a whole Thursday night squad temperament profile appointment. Just the whole squad.
Download the test and take it before the episode starts.
I'm telling you, I'm sitting up here saying, damn. I said, damn. I was like, damn, that might be why a sister still may be a little single, because mighty God today. I mean, I ain't mad at me, but
how are you feeling?
That's a good point.
How are you feeling? We learned.
I ain't mad. It got me where I'm at. No, I ain't mad. There's some things that can be tweaked, but I ain't mad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand. Yeah. I'm gonna stand on the choleric. I'm gonna stand on the choleric because that's me all day.
And you have to stand on who you are and how God. You have to stand on who you are and how God wired you. Psalm 139 clearly tells us. People say, how can you support that in scripture? Read Psalm 139. I knitted you in your mother's womb. At the rot, I mean, he placed everything inside of us. He was in the room. He was in the room when you were being made. He placed that temperament inside of the womb. That's when you grow up and you come out and maybe you have 2 babies in the house, right? You got 2 babies, right? Maybe even twins. Let's say we have twins, 2 cribs. You got one kid over here with the rattle. And you got to get the kid off trying to climb out. And you got the other one laying there. 2 different temperaments, 2 different needs. How do we mess up sometimes with our children? You have children in the house, right? And you have one that's in the room playing with G.I. Joe toys, just playing. That's all he needs. That's all he wants. You got the other siblings in the park on the sliding board with all the rest of the kids. Now the mother is saying, something's wrong with this kid. This kid never goes out. This kid is always in the room reading books. This kid, so what does the mother do? Boy, get outside with your sisters and brothers. Violation. Putting that kid and forcing that kid into a need in a space he doesn't need. Yes, we pay attention to our children, but he didn't need the kids. He was fine. He was fine with his toys and his kids that were out playing. They needed people, he didn't. But who knows that as we're raising kids? Who understands that as we're young? So let's get back really quickly so I can finish up the 2 introverts. The phlegmatic, the wonderful phlegmatic. Have anyone ever watched Joyce Myers?
Mm-hmm.
Joyce Myers, do you hear her talk about Dave, her husband? Dave this, Dave that. Dave is always in the background. If it wasn't for Dave, Joyce Myers wouldn't be who she is today. She always give him credit because Joyce Myers is a choleric and she's always this and that. And Dave is like, you done? Dave brings her down and calms her down. And she always attributes and gives her husband credit for understanding her and not judging her. And so Dave, a phlegmatic, is a person that doesn't need the hoopla. They want to be a part of the group, but they don't need to be in the front. Don't call them in the front. Don't put them on the microphone. Put them in the back, in the office. Let them run the company. Phlegmatics are peacemakers. They are peacemakers. So if you know someone who's naturally service-oriented and passive in both favorable and unfavorable environments, then you've met a phlegmatic. They influence their environment by cooperating with others to carry out the task. They don't need to shine. They don't want it. Just let them do what they do. They're peacemakers. You ever had a group of friends and the girlfriends is going, and one girl say, come on, guys, let's bring the peace. Why are we doing this? They're very, very like, what is going on? They can get on your nerves too because they move so slow. They would drive a choleric crazy because phlegmatics is like, okay, I'm going to do it. And choleric is like, let's go, right? So when we understand each other, we give grace to each other. So here we are. Although the phlegmatic is usually slow to warm up, they are accommodating in the process. Also, they are by far the easiest people with whom to get along, as long as you do not try to alter their routine or ask them to change. Now, that could be a problem because the Lord always wants to change us. The Lord always wants to shape us and reshape us. Every temperament needs to be shaped and reshaped. And if you're a strong temperament, the Lord is trying to get in to stretch you and get you to go into the unknown area that makes you very timid and anxious because you don't know the area, right? The last temperament is the phlegmatic. The melancholy. The melancholy is the other introvert temperament. And the melancholy naturally wants to do things right and is quality oriented. They are not trying to be right. They are driven to figure out what is right. Melancholies are very analytical. They say in scripture that the prophets were melancholies. They said that Peter was a sanguine. You know, Peter got your back. He was going to cut the ear off and do everything. Peter's the one in our David had a Uzi. He got your back. He not letting you walk into trouble by yourself. So each, it's amazing when you think of it now as, you can think of people. Now your temperament, let me know, when you were born, your temperament is what your temperament was. Pache is in the chat. I gave my children their temperament profile when they were 9, right? It was a child's profile. And I sat and talked with them, and it made me understand more how they were wired. Not what I wanted them to be, but what they needed from me. And Pache and Nicole and Dee, I did their temperament profile, and I knew as a young age that they would eventually grow into the fullness of the temperament. If you ask Pache now, she will tell you it is 99% accurate. The temperament profile does not fail because you answer it based on who you are. Yeah, Peter was wild. And sanguine's got your back. And choleric is there to back up the sanguine. So anyway, let me finish with the melancholy. So here it is. So you figure out what is right. They have an initial cautious, tentative response to reduce tension in an unfavorable environment. The melancholy's second response is often to become assertive to restore peace in a favorable situation, an unfavorable situation. They influence their environment by adhering to the existing rules. Melancholies are the people when there's an altar call in the church, right? Because we know the sanguine's in the pulpit. The sanguine and the choleric may be preaching because they got the control. Choleric's got a control now. You can't listen. The choleric is going to control. And they're always right. When they're wrong, they're right. Cholerics is going to be in the pulpit preaching, and they got the people. Guess what? Temperament being met. Because what? That interaction, the people. Sanguine in the pulpit. Now look for them after the service. You think you're going to find them at the altar? You're going to find the melancholy at the altar with the tissue. You're going to find the melancholy bringing the people up and going in the room so they can accept Christ, because melancholies are self-sacrificing, sometimes to a fault, right? Now, I'm almost done. They are introverted, logical, analytical, and factual in communication. Sometimes melancholies can be too analytical. Sometimes melancholies can deal with depression because they live internally on the inside. They're very deep people. You find a lot of worship leaders as melancholies. You find artists that are melancholies. You find people deep in music, melancholy. You find analytical. Sometimes too, they don't give themselves a break. They mess up, they beat themselves up in real time. They see it in living color. If somebody abandoned them, if somebody abused them, it takes them so long to forgive. They see what you did to them in color, and they have to learn how to allow God to bring healing. So they influence their environment. And lastly, they need information, time alone. You cannot have a bunch of people in a melancholy's house when they come from work. The melancholy's home is their sanctuary. They need to unwind in their own time, in their own space, get out of their way. They need peace in their home. Now, one thing I will say as I end this, because we could go on and on, but I did a snapshot so that you could kind of know. Some of you might be saying, I'm this, I'm that. Maybe you are, but there's also a blend. You won't know your blend until you do the temperament profile. They need time and a detailed plan in order to function effectively without anxiety. Melancholies can really take themselves on a journey. They can take themselves on a spin out if they're not careful because they're very analytical. And so, as those four temperaments are there, you can see that you can identify with some of these characteristics based on your learned behavior, your environmental impact, your needs and your wants, your strengths and your weaknesses. And know that you could have a sanguine working in the stock exchange with all the bells banging on it. Just put a sanguine around people in the job. Don't you dare put a sanguine in the office with a computer and close the door. You're violating them. That's why a lot of times, even in your temperament, you have to not violate yourself or allow other people to put you in spaces that violate you. If you put a sanguine inside of an office and close the door and say, this is your job, your desk, your computer, the sanguine is going to go a little off because they need what? I heard you, people. They need interaction. Now take that melancholy, give them a desk, a computer, and close the door. They're in seventh heaven because they don't need people. They want to do their work. They don't need you micromanaging them. Remember, your temperament is across the board for everything you do in life, relationship-wise, job-wise. So many people are working today because someone put them in a position and told them, this is what you're called to do. This is what you need to do. People do it in churches all the time. They have the woman that don't like kids in the Sunday school. Come on. They have the usher who does not have personality ushering you and yelling at you to get in that third. No, go over there. You got the greeter at the door who don't like people. What are you doing? You need to put people where they belong so that they're not violated and you get the best from them. So whether it's your job, whether it's your relationship, your husband, your wife needs to know how you are wired. I'm telling you, this will save a marriage. This will save you not getting in a relationship that's going to break up as soon as you get into it. Remember, you got to learn and not be violated. Know your strengths, your weaknesses, your needs, and your wants. I yield.
My God. Yes, ma'am. How are you feeling? That's the question.
I've been delivered. I've been delivered. I've been delivered. Mighty God today.
Okay, I want to greet some people in the comments before we even move any further. Give y'all a chance to take that in and just exhale it, inhale it, and exhale it. Think about it. I know you found yourself somewhere. I know I found myself several places. So we just gonna give it a second. Welcome, my girl, my bestie Elaine Edwards is in the building on tonight. My brother Mark Odom is in the house. Hey, bro, what's good? And let's see who else we got. Now I'm gonna read some comments while we pause for a moment to reflect, because I need a minute to recover myself. My goodness, that just you ran down myself, by both my marriages, by both my divorces, my whole church life. You made it make sense on tonight. The pieces of my life have come back together now. Yes, ma'am. Let's see. Deshaun said, "Oh my God, stop talking about me, girl. I told y'all Pastor Sheila is everything." Mom co-signed and says she is everything. This is no joke right here, okay? Now, this was me commenting. I said, now you telling my business. So she was talking about the melancholy. She was all in my business. Yes, ma'am. Mark Odom says, speak, mama. That's right. That's right. He talking about you, putting it out there. Auntie Jenny says, I would not want my man to live under that kind of pressure. Somebody got to live under that kind of pressure. So there's a man to do it. Deshaun says, I'm a perfect blend of choleric and melancholy. I asked her, what was she doing down there? Okay. You kept kicking her out. That's all right. We hope you get back on. Mark says, when God made woman from his rib, he knew what he was doing. The rib protects the important parts of the body, the heart. Deshaun said, my God, this is so good. Let's see. Pat Shay says, "Come on, Melancholy." That's right. Team Melancholy is in the house on tonight. This is good. It is real, real good. It is so good. And again, this information I felt was so key again because of the fact that as women, we need to learn how to understand our men not in a negative way, not picking apart. People act and respond, and react, and take actions for a reason. The way there's a reason behind they do what they do. And sometimes we just like with us, we have to pause though and take a minute to say why, take a minute to want to understand why he's doing what he's doing. And I think it's important that we do this, especially in the dating space, because as Pastor Sheila was saying, this will help you understand before you get to that point of that commitment that could end in divorce because you did not take the time to understand and educate yourself about who you're dealing with. Yes. And you have to, and who you are and who you're dealing with, because we all have a particular capacity.
Yes,
and I might want to have the capacity for you, but I might just not because of how I'm wired. And we don't want our wires crossed because we don't want
I won't marry you if you don't do this test. People ask me to, I've done weddings, and they ask me to counsel them. Yeah, if you take this temperament profile, yes. If not, because I feel it's a setup. Mm. You know, I'm sorry to interject that, but while you was talking about relationship, had done counseling for marriage, you know, people that wanted to be married. And I said, but you need to, I'm telling you, please take this, please. And when they do it, they be like, thank you. I don't feel right in my heart to marry people without giving this.
And I can see why.
It's a setup. The enemy plays with this.
And a lot of times we're afraid of knowledge. You know, we're more in love with the romance or the romanticism of it, that we are afraid of the knowledge and we don't want to know, because when we know, it gives truth to power to truth. And then you don't need to be in that situation that you already know you don't need to be in, you know. And it doesn't give you the opportunity. Tests like this give you the opportunity to face yourself, and that's something that we don't want to do, right? And own that truth, because sometimes we just want what we want. I've been there. I lived there. You know, Elaine says, "I will not be set up." No, you won't, best friend.
Amen. Amen.
This is so good. We can't be afraid of the knowledge, because it only hurts us in the end when we go in uneducated and unaware. I think we have to be willing. I think we have to love yourself and each other enough to let go. If you find that you cannot be in this space together, you know, if you're finding, because you can't really, I don't think you can lie to yourself in a sense, but eventually the truth comes to the surface. And like you're saying, those different temperament spaces and different profiles and different actions and reactions, different needs, it's what you need. And that's the key thing, you know, that word right there. A need is something you can't do without. Yeah. And this is what you have to have. So you have to make sure that you're balanced. And like you said, we could be the same type of choleric, but like you said, I could be raised in the suburbs, you could be raised in the hood, and the way we express that could be different.
Yeah, so absolutely.
It's you know, this is so good. Pastor Chris, I want you to share, you know, as our resident male expert. But before you do, I want to ask Pastor Sheila, if you could let people know, Alex, I don't know how much more time we have with you. I just want to keep you all night long. But if you could let people know, how can they reach you in order to, if they would like to take this assessment test, where could they find, how can they reach you? Again, she is a licensed counselor, people. So this is, you know, we need to be able to get into these spaces with professionals. So she's talking from the professional standpoint, not just because she's the curator of this space, but how can they reach you?
One of the ways you can reach me is at the website, nowutalking.com. Nowutalking.com. And that is our website. We have therapists there. I'm the counselor, and there's a couple of therapists, whatever. We financial things there. Nowutalking.com, or you can call me directly at 917-325-0505. 0292. You can call me on that line. Um, and then there's one more way, Sheila-Ingram.com. But the Now You're Talking is basically where I have all the counseling information, and my phone number. You can call me directly to do the profile. I do a lot of these profiles. I don't have to necessarily counsel people. Sometimes people don't want the counseling piece, they just want to know the temperament profile. And I do the temperament profile with them. And sometimes later on, they come back and say, I need a couple of sessions with you to talk about a couple of things I'm dealing with. We do that. And then sometimes people are just good with just having the temperament profile. So if you reach out to me, we can talk about exactly what you want to do or would like to do. And we could take it from there. So nowyourtalking.com, or you can call me or text me 917-325-0292. So if you text me would be best, because these scammers, I don't know your number. And so, I don't pick up for calls that I don't recognize because of what's going on with scamming and stuff. So text me first and then I'll get back to you. I want to let you know that everything I do is 150% confidential. I don't care who you know, who I know, who's your friend, who's my friend. They will never know anything that you've done with me ever. And that's very important to me. I hold that true, that I never talk about anyone. My kids know, everybody that knows me, don't ask me. Don't ask me what I said, what they said. Don't do it. Right. So it's just totally confidential information, you and I. And I just wanted to put that out there to let you know that I'm really a stickler about that. The last thing I want to, not the last, but another thing I want to say is, when you take a temperament, and I would suggest to not share it with everyone, what you scored as, because sometimes people use that against you. They can use that against you in turn. If you want to share, you share. But I would never tell somebody your temperament, because it's exposing you to someone who may not have good motives. The other thing that people do is, especially with the children, I've done temperaments and they go home and say, Mom, well, Miss Sheila said that I do this because. No, once God shows us how we're wired, what we need to work on, we're responsible for the information, and don't use the temperament to say, oh, that's how he wired me, so I got to pass. No, no, no. I've had children go home and tell their parents, Miss Sheila said there's such and such and such. I said, they're playing on you. They're playing with you.
I want to
And
use that as an adult.
that's why I'm putting it out there, that people say that all the time. Oh, that's my weakness. Yeah, I took a profile and that's my weakness, so I get a pass. No, you got that information so that your strength can be your weakness can be a strength, and you allow God to help you change, but not to try to get over on your partner. Well, you see, I took the profile, and this is why I'm moody, because melancholies wake up moody, so you have to deal with it. No, ma'am, no, sir.
It is not a pass. It is a pause to reflect.
There you go. You got to work on it. You got to do.
I want to say, I've been sick, so I still sound like got a lot going on. I want to say that I'm not even mad at what was revealed. I do see, and I definitely actually am going to take the test. And I'm also going to give it to my students in my psychology class to help them understand how to be more effective leaders. And I think that one of the things that really tricked that I'm laughing is because between the choleric and crazy as it may sound, I don't like being in the pulpit. And I was like, well, that's not like you said, I'd rather be in the office with the door closed and alone. And when I come home, I don't want nothing in my space. So I kind of got to assess some stuff. And again, I like who I am. I do. And some of the things God has addressed in me being as a choleric person, and proud of it. I'm proud of it, and I think that anyone who listens to this, that they need to be proud of who they are. It comes with some downfalls, but some of those downfalls are things that you have to grow to become a better individual. And I think that one of the things that we as problems, even in relationships, we don't want to be able to do that. We don't want to necessarily grow. I meant what I said. Maybe I need to reassess some things as I am prepared. I know that I'm preparing for marriage. I'm clear that that's coming. That I may need to reassess some things. However, I am guilty of being that type of woman where the last relationship I was in, I knew my partner. I knew when there were moments that he just needed space, and I shared the space, but I did not share the words. I knew when they were lying. And I knew because the temperament changed. And I think because of me, and even though we are friends now, we're not dating, I can say things to him and be like, despite what you think, I know you better than you think I do. Just because I have not orated everything about you to you doesn't mean I don't know you. I know when I don't need to talk to them. And I think one of the things is that we are so busy trying to get to the altar that we're not studying enough to identify some of the things that we might not necessarily like. And one of the things when we were on the verge of breaking up, he was like, well, if I ask you to marry me, you're going to marry me. And I say, yeah, let's see. Let's try. He's a narcissist. Clear as day. He's a narcissist. It is what it is. And I said, I'm willing to take that chance. If you're willing to ask, be prepared for the answer. I'm saying all of this because I think, again, as we are preparing, when we're saying to learn your man, to understand who he is, and sometimes that's going to make me, who is choleric, have to now really turn into being, because I am a melancholy all day. I have to become the melancholy and put the choleric on the back end as I'm engaging with him. It doesn't make me less of the successful person I am. I've just learned how to navigate my space. And that came from time. So I'm laughing because, oh, I feel you, God. I'm laughing because there was a point where I was strictly choleric. Like there was nothing you can tell me. But as God has started to cultivate me and have me face some of my things, my melancholy, because I'm an extrovert, but there are situations where I'm an introvert all day, and people do not get that about me. They always expect me to be the extrovert, and I'm really not always the extrovert. I
Yes.
don't want to sit on the platform all the time. I rather prefer to sit in the audience. I'll go the extra mile with that individual, but I'm not going to tarry too long with you.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
but yeah, I just wanted to say that.
oh, can I just interject something? What you said was so good and so it's such a great assessment because being the choleric and also a melancholy, I said early on, it can confuse people because they don't know how to keep up with you, especially in a relationship. They think they know you, they know parts of you. And so most times they try to just put you in one category and then say you're not being real and honest because this other person shows up. Now, the melancholy, which is so wonderful, the melancholy saves the choleric. The melancholy smooths the choleric down. The melancholy, like, gives you that space. But then yet, if you're within a relationship, they're looking like, wait a minute. Because remember, the melancholy and choleric is like two bookends. You have the introvert strong and you have the choleric strong. So, right, sometimes you may confuse yourself because it's this thing inside of you. And then what else happens is people misunderstand you. And then they begin to label or try to label that you're this, and you be like, no, well, no, I'm not. I'm that sometimes, but they be like, no, well, you being quiet, something's wrong. What's now they're saying you are being wrong because so the blend that you have, this is why it's so important for people to and that's why relationships, and then after the fact, you see somebody you were with, you be like, we could have really made it.
Right.
We could have really made it had we had that piece.
Just the communication.
So I think that was so great how you just broke that down because that gives you, now you understand there's no more violation, right? No, you can't violate. I'm not even going to allow you to violate me no more. I'm not going to violate no me because I paid a price to get this information. I pay, you know, we pay a price to get the anointing. I paid a
Come
price
on.
to
Come
get
on.
this information. And I can't offer you that anymore because I went through too much to get to know me like this. And if you don't understand me and you misunderstand me, I'm so sorry. But I know who I am today. And I'm continuously learning in the process of more and more and more. That was so good.
I love it. I love the comments. I love what's been shared. This
That
has
was so
been
good.
amazing conversation. Pastor Chris done dropped the mic. Come on, Pastor Chris. We got our gentleman resident, our visitor up here in the ladies' room today, the one and only pass that was given. So we want you to get in on this conversation. Come on and share on what you have heard from the man's perspective. Again, we are asking, how are you feeling? We want to be able to understand more about how we are wired, how our wires connect, and how we can help to support our men better. So like, subscribe, and share this great information. We have some comments I'm going to read, and what I want Pastor Chris to come and share, since he is our guest tonight as well. And I want Lady Rhonda to also share, and I want to make sure we get to the comments. So come on, Pastor Chris, come and tell us, how are you feeling, sir?
Oh my God. After this, I'm a little conflicted, but seriously though, I understand it just by what Pastor Sheila, pretty much broke down. I know who I am, and I think the space where I'm at right now, it's allowing me to process feelings. It's allowing me to process anger, hurts, grieve, all that stuff. Because I never gave myself time. And I think a lot of us do that. We don't give ourselves enough time to reset and regroup, and we go right back into something else. Now, for me, it's just been very therapeutic just to be able to process all these feelings at one time. Now, in some places, some shape or form, is that healthy? No, it's not. That's why you should have someone that you should talk to. Professional that you should talk to. I've done that, and I still do that when I need it. Especially when you have a provocation that provokes you, an ex-spouse, an ex, whatever you've been dealing with. You're on this path of healing. You're on this path of moving forward. You're on this path of growing, knowing who you are, all this stuff, and then there, all of a sudden, you get a backslap. So it's like, whoa, hold on a second. What's going on right now? Should I go back to my old way, or should I handle this differently? Now, there's growth there when you're able to handle things differently. We're so driven to go, oh, you want to come at me? Okay, let's get it. No, sometimes you got to kill the negative or kill the toxic with kindness. As much it hurts, as much as it makes you feel some kind of way, as a leader, as a pastor, as whatever it is, sometimes you have to walk the other way, turn the other cheek, as they say. That's not easy to do. And I'm not going to sit here and act like it is, because it's not. But what I've learned tonight is that, wow, I didn't know that you could be multiple. This is your main, and then you got all these multiple personalities mixed in. Now, I could be a little much. I can. And that's just how I'm built. I'm intense. That's how I'm built. I don't just go in on one thing. You want me to say something, I'm going to go all in. There's no medium. There's no, I'm just going to give you a little sprinkle tonight, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm going to go all in. And people are like, what in the world is wrong with that fool? That's just how I'm wired. I have an excitement. I know what this life is about. I've been through a lot. I shouldn't even be here today. So, of course, I tell God, listen, if you want to open my mouthpiece in any platform that I'm at, if it's in a pulpit or in the pews, I'm going to go all in. Now, I like to be by myself a lot. What? I see you everywhere. You're on this show, that show. You do this, you do that. You're emceeing here. Look, I like to be home by myself, air conditioning on. I'm good. I just play music. I don't have to have company. I'm real private. Just leave me alone, kind of thing, right? But our positions of what we hold require us to come out. Being that clergy, you're automatically locked in. As soon as your number's called, you're ready to go in, coach. That's how it is. So you have to know how to balance it. And some people don't get it. When you make decisions that are rash, some people don't get it. They get offended, they get mad, they call you outside your name, all this stuff. When you're doing something for you and you are trying to heal you after years of nonsense, as a man, no. Is it hard to be happy every single day? Absolutely it is. Why? Because you're stretched so many places. And if you're one of those men that don't give up, don't surrender, you continue to grind, you continue to go through what you go through in spite of what it looks like, in spite of what they say, in spite of what your past was, and you're becoming a whole new person, people don't like that. So they're going to bring something that they used to know about you and try to put it into perspective in your present. And I thank God that I have the maturity that I do, and I'm getting better at it to the point where if you start poking fingers at open wounds, I know how to cover up and guard and not offend you in a way where I'm just going to straight knock you out. Forget all the talking, forget all the nonsense. I'm just going to knock you out. So it's hard for men to express these feelings of being exposed because we're told that we're always supposed to be strong. Even in the church realm, we got to be strong regardless. You cannot be weak. You got to show the power of God on the inside and outside of you. And you can't let life get you down and all this. Look, sometimes I'm sorry. I'm not pastor. I'm Christopher. I'm still the man. And if you can't understand that, that's a problem. And we get so far-fetched, and that's why a lot of men are upset, they're angry, they're sick of it. And just like our theme on the men's lounge, it's gonna be good. And this is just an opener for this, because what it's like to be a man, listen to the song by Dax. Yeah. Listen to the song, ladies. I'm telling you, they broke it down so good that even a 5-year-old could get it. It's true. And I'm sorry to say it, you got to keep going through life acting like everything's okay. I'm trying to tell you how I feel, baby, but then you're telling me I'm soft. I'm trying to go above and beyond for you. I want to rub your feet. I want to run bathwater for you. I want to acknowledge the intelligence that you have, but yet still, you're still calling me weak and insensitive, but yet I'm in tune to how you feel. So how does that make a man feel? It makes us feel unwanted. So again, since you're doing it all by yourself, boo-boo, since you can get your own feet rubbed, since you can get your own stuff done for yourself, what's the point of having me? So that's the thin line here. And I don't mean to be long-winded, but I just wanted to try to throw as much as I can out as I possibly can, because I have a lot of people here. It's just, I know for me, regardless of where I fall, regardless of what goes on, I'm still going to push. I'm still going to move the way I move. You can call it cold. You can call it disrespectful. You can call it insensitive. You can call me whatever you want to call me. That's fine. That's on you. But I'm telling you how I'm feeling. And like I said in the last show, when a man gives you an opportunity and he's trying to tell you how he truly feels, and you shut that down, ladies, it's not his fault. It's yours. Why? Because a man will give you an opportunity to open up his heart so he can finally feel safe in your arms, finally feel safe in what he says, finally feel safe. And when you shut that down, guess what? There's no more pass and go, no more collecting $200. You shut down, then you wonder why he talking to Becky down the street. I guess so. He gave you an opportunity. He wanted to give his heart to you, but yet you shut it down. So again, is that an excuse? Oh, that's an excuse to make a man go cheat. That's not what I'm saying. But we do communicate. And I'm tired of the narrative of men don't communicate, because we do. A lot of us do it differently. But most of us do the same thing. When we're with a lady, we truly love and care about. And when we finally open our heart to you, we constantly get shut down. Don't get mad at them. I'm just saying, that is my piece. I'm no professional. This is the Thomas voice. Had to drop it down. I'm done.
Yeah,
No,
I
thank
understand.
you for sharing.
You
Go
said
ahead.
a lot. I hear you. I definitely hear you and understand. And what I'd like to add to that is when things happen, the colliding of relationships and the colliding of hearts, we have to factor in the learned behavior piece, the learned behavior and the environmental impact piece. And when we learn things that we have to unlearn, unfortunately, sometimes it's at the expense of someone we're living with or married to. And many times people don't even see their flaws because many times people, it's not pointed out to them that it's a flaw. It may be a strength, a flaw that became a strength because of their own personal survival. And so when women and men get together, you have the colliding of two worlds coming together. Now, based on the work that you've done, and being we're talking about men, men are misunderstood a lot. I think now, and I think for the last few years or so, men are more vocal now than I've ever heard. I've never heard people, men talk the way they're talking now. It's almost like I have a voice. I don't have to sit and be quiet because, again, learned behavior and environmental impact told you that crying was not cool, that being soft and this, that. No, I mean, we have been really messed up, not just as a people, but in general. So now we have to
Yeah.
undo and unwind and allow ourselves to really be who we are underneath. Pastoring is what you do, it is not who you are. A nurse is what she does, it's not who she is. Me being a singer or a counselor or whatever you may say is what I do. But do you know Sheila? It's in sometimes exactly what you said. People will mesh your title and your job and your profession into who you are as a person. And then they miss the whole point. They miss the whole person. They miss the whole heartbeat of who you are because they're so caught up into what you went to school for or what you are called to do. We have to learn how to take those hats off and allow people to not violate us because of what I do. It is not who I am. And
Right.
we have to be responsible to that. We have to say, no, no, I did that, been there, lived there, moved. I don't live there anymore because we've paid a price to where we are today. A lot of tears, a lot of persecution, a lot of public scandal. No matter what your story is, you have a story. And that price really merges us into what? The anointing that God has covered us now with, because you pay a price to be able to impede and give people such as I have, because I can't give you what I don't have. I can give you such as I have. But even in that, I had to find out, and you have to find out, and we have to find out who I really am. Who am I in the wiring of how God, you had nothing to do with how the Lord wired you. You don't have the power to wire you. You came in this world wired, and then the world jacked us up, and people we got with got it all misinterpreted. But now, today, we learn more by what? Allowing people not to violate us, and then having the spirit of humility to look in the mirror and say, I need to change. I need to turn this weakness into a strength. But then you got to have a partner. It's very important to have the right person that's called to you. Who are you called to? Not who do you like, not how do they dress, all of that stuff. After you get a certain age, you want somebody that can have the capacity of who you are today and where you're going. And that still involves your temperament and how you're wired, your needs and your wants. And I heard everything you said, Pastor Chris, and it is so true. Men have voices today. And if they're being vulnerable and they're sharing, I pray that God will speed the women up to understand that it's strength in weakness. My God, there's
You
strength.
preaching, Auntie.
There's strength in tears. There's
Come
strength
on.
with how you said, let me lay my head on your lap. There's strength and all of that, if you got the woman to see and the man can be vulnerable, then you have a pure relationship that can take you everywhere. Because remember, when you're not allowing yourself to be who you called to be and wired to be, the enemy now uses that to cut you off from your true purpose and to grow into the man and woman of God that God has called you to be. To what? Get on all those mountains that God has called us to. The mountain of music, the mountain of education, the mountains. We need to be on the mountains caused to do things that God has called us to do so that we live in a better environment and community. And I dropped the mic. I declined. I just digress right now. And I am going to drop down and let you guys have your full conversation and go on. I am thanking you so very much for allowing me to come and share everything that I've shared with you. I've lived it. I've lived through it, through pain, sweat, persecution, church hurt, church throwing me away. I've lived through some stuff, but I never let it rest in my heart. That's the worshiper that I am has caused me to never hold the fault that anyone has said or done to me, because there's purpose in whatever you've gone through. And I always keep my heart pure. No matter all the wrong that has been done to me has brought me to where I am today. And I will not ever allow anyone to get a strike. God, give me a strike because of somebody else's. I cannot and you cannot rent space in somebody else's head. And you are powerless. Let me leave you with this. You are powerless over what someone says about you, and you are powerless over what someone thinks about you. It's none of your business what they think about you. You're powerless. Don't give that energy to that. Just be to what you are called to be and learn how you're wired so you can go on and be fruitful and do all the things that the Lord has called you to do. I thank you all so much. God bless you. Thank you so much for having me on tonight. I love you all. I'm always watching you behind the scenes, chatting and talking. You guys are awesome. You are wonderful. Know that I love you. Know that there's, listen, God is good. We are good. Just keep pressing for the mark and stay the course. Stay the course. Mwah. I love you. Niece.
Love you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bless you. Bless you.
Amazing.
Give some bravos to Auntie Bravo, please.
Ciao. Ciao, guys.
She has to drop off, but I could not. I'm so glad she was able to make time to come on and to share, because this information is so important and so key, and it is going to change the trajectory of everything in our lives. Help us understand. We got Lady Rhonda down there. I want her to share as well. But I want to read some comments. I hope that this has been good for you guys so far. Pastor Chris, thank you for being the male voice, bringing the testosterone to the room on tonight. Something happens when men speak. That's usually what I say. That's my motto and mantra for Thursday nights with the men's lounge, because when the men speak, they bring order. And it is important that we hear their voices say these things, because it's sometimes, with women, when we get together and we start talking about what men think or what we think men think is different. But when you hear it from a man himself, it makes a world of difference. And we're not trying to change their words, their feelings, or their narrative. We are trying to open ourselves up to hear them, receive them, and find out how we can support them to push them to their next. So I totally appreciate everything that you said. Pastor Sheila is the truth. She is the absolute bomb. I love her to no end, for real, for real. So, Lady Rhonda, I want you to get ready to share. I'm going to ask you a question, but I want to read some of the comments. Again, thank you guys for joining us on tonight. The month of June is dedicated to our men. Every week we are going to be on talking about another awesome topic. We have invited the men on all month long to chime in when they can, where they can, and to share, because we want to honor them. We want them to know that we hear you, we see you, and not just that, but we plan on putting action behind what you're saying so that you know you are supported. So before we go further, before I get to Lady Rhonda, I want to just read these comments, because I don't want y'all to think we don't see you, because we do. Deshaun says, yes, everyone needs this. It is so important in a marriage to understand who you are becoming one with and how that blending looks. This helps us truly understand who we are. That temperament piece, I could not wait for her to get on to share, because it brings so much understanding to yourself. So it helps us partner better, or even realize these are the things about me that when I partner with someone else, this is where I might need you to give me a little bit more grace so we can press through. Lady Deshawn also says, that's right. The enemy will play in that gray area and have you thinking the other person doesn't love, care, or know you and don't care too much. Taryn Thomas, my sister Elder. Taryn Thomas, who was just ordained this Sunday along with me. Come on, sis. Welcome. She says, this is excellent. I'm glad she is loving this conversation. Pastor Sheila's contact information is in the chat. So if you need to reach out, you want more information, she is available. Just you can go in the chat. My auntie Jeannie, my auntie Gangster says, my husband and I were together for 30 years until his death. We began assuming each other's personalities and were more alike than unalike. I think that is cool when you start to blend with the person that you're with. You do pick up each other's traits and things, and it just enhances the relationship, but it doesn't take away from your individuality. And they said, so true. I'm all and none of the temperaments. I found myself in quite a few of them too. Pache says, not necessary downfalls. I would say bring awareness to our weakness so we can be better versions of ourselves and to our mates. Yes. I feel like you should be with someone who helps you be a better version of yourself every day. It's not all going to happen in one day, but every day you are helping to bring out the best in me, even when it's down to me, you rubbing on the rough edges. Landon Price says, balance requires multiple styles of communication. Very true. We mostly identify with two styles, me/live in the light or purpose. I agree. Good stuff. Mark Odom says, there's not a better feeling to a man to feel safe and vulnerable to the woman he is in love with. I would say so. And women, we should want our men to feel safe and vulnerable with us. And I think when that happens, it just intensifies the love that you have. There's a lot of comments that part, Auntie Sheila, Lady Deshawn is clapping her hands like nobody's business. And we are all caught up with the comments there. Lady Rhonda, I want you to come and share your thoughts, your feelings, what you gathered from this conversation on tonight. Our topic is, how are you feeling? We wanted to ask our men, how are you feeling? We want to ask and wait for the answer so that we can devise a plan of support to help lift them up. So come on, Lady Rhonda, you have the floor.
I don't need the whole floor. I just need not even a quarter. I was sitting here just learning. I got my notebook. I got all the written down, every little part she said. So I was enjoying this.
Say what now? Say what now? Say what?
You can give me the corner and I'm good. Which is pretty much what she said. But what she said about the men not crying, and it's a lot. It's witty what brought up. My dad is a country man, and how they said, a man's man, and crying wasn't an option. So that's what I was brought up under. And he'll see like my brother crying, or my brother shed a tear. Stop all that crying. I'm crying. You're a man. You ain't gonna cry. Stop acting like a sissy. So all of that from our generation growing up, that's all I knew. But then as I got older, and I was the oldest, so I took care of the help my dad. My mom out with the house. My mom worked the night shift, so I would help my dad out with my siblings and stuff. So when I got married young. I got married at 21. So when I got married, I thought, Rhonda thought that she knew how to take care of a home, because I was there taking care of my siblings. I was helping my dad. So I thought I knew what to do as far as being a wife. So I got married at 21. And it didn't work out well. It lasted for a little while, but it did not work out that great, because like Pastor Sheila said, we didn't know each other. We didn't get to know each other. So, and my thought of him was that he should be like my dad. My dad took care of the home. My dad took care of the bills. My mom did whatever she wanted, whatever he gave her his check, and that was it. And boom, mom did what she needed to do with everything. And that's the way, us growing up, that's what we look at. We look at what in front of us, and I'm sitting there like, okay, this is what he's supposed to be like. But I didn't get to know him, so that was one that was one of the issues that we had. We didn't know each other, didn't get to learn each other. That crying, oh, you should do this, you need this kind of job, you need this, you need that, and not letting him be who he needed to be as a person. And then when I married my second husband, he was a childhood bestie, and even now, I'm going on 20 years, we're still learning each other. I don't, I'm not with that, oh, you can't cry, and I don't tell it to my son either. My son, I tell him, look, express yourself. If you feel you need to talk, you need to cry, let it out. That don't make you less of a man,
right?
Because you crying. One thing that happened was, he was in college and he took up biology as his major. Biology's hard. I don't care what nobody say. It's hard. So he was, not doing great in it, and he felt like he couldn't do it anymore. So of course he calls mama and like, Mom, crying and stuff. And I'm like, look, you got this. Don't worry about it. If you need to change a major. But I didn't make him feel like, you better stop that crying. You're a man. You ain't supposed to want to cry. No. He was vulnerable. He needed my help. He needed me on his side. I just let him just pour it all out. The same with my husband. My husband is, I would say, he's the choleric. He is strong with the mouth, great leadership, man. Whatever I, and weak in the part is, he got it all covered. So, I am Lady Dawn. I'm the behind the scenes woman.
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here laughing.
You know me with Queen's Court and everything that went on, and with the Lord's Church. I was there. I was the head nurse. Queen's Court. I did all the behind the scenes. Whatever First Lady McDaniel wanted, I did it. So I don't have to be in the front. I don't need to get praised. So that's my position right there. I am phlegmatic. I don't need all of that glamour and all that stuff. That's not me. So
right.
Those of you that are with that choleric or whatever part you are, I shoot my hat off to you, because I can't. Put me in the background.
Right, get somebody else to do it.
Let me mop the floor, sweep the floor, clean the tables. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. And now with me being the first lady, I'm learning. I'm learning to get out there a little bit, Dawn. I'm getting there, Dawn. I'm
proud of you. I'm proud of you.
I'm making my inches. Because when we first started, my husband was like, when you gonna preach? I said, please stop saying that. Please stop asking me when I'm gonna get. When am I gonna get in the mic? When God says it's time for me to get in the mic, that's when I get in the mic. So it's. Like I said, I don't have a lot to say. It's a lot. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
To be that person that needs to be up in the front a little bit more. But I can do the behind the scenes. Like I have the impact outreach where I'm helping people that need food and clothing, shelter, stuff like that. Things like that is what I love to do. So and my husband's I'm glad that we have a relationship to where he backs me, he pushes me, I push him. Like I said, he can lay on my lap and have that.
Come on.
Baby, you okay? What's the matter? Is everything all right? Like I know when he comes in the door, just by looking at his face, I know something went on. He ain't even got to tell me the whole story. You know what I'm saying? That we at that point with each other, that we have been through so much that we have started to learn each other. And we're still learning. We're 20 years in, but we're still learning. I can finish a sentence.
We're a student.
I know what he's thinking before he even brings it out. He can be like, babe, let me call you. Let me tell you what happened. I already know. And that's how in tune we are. So that's a good thing, that when you have a partner that you're in tune with and you can share, you share things of each other and you know what each other's thinking, you know what each other's thoughts are. That's a good thing. you know, because you're with somebody that you're compatible to or compatible with. So I'm glad that we are at that point that we are compatible and we, you know, can open up each other and talk to each other and don't have to hide anything from each other. Or, you know, so if you're looking for that person, you know, go to God. Please don't pick him on your own. That was my first mistake. Don't pick him on your own. You know what I'm saying? Let God let God have a say so in what you get, because you might get the wrong thing. You don't want to get the wrong thing.
You will. You will get the wrong thing.
Huh?
I said you sure will get the wrong thing.
You will get the wrong thing. Somebody get this boy out of the kitchen. Okay. You will get the wrong thing if you don't let God in and let him help you, you know, and pray and ask him for direction. That's one thing you need is direction. If you don't have direction, then what do you have? You need direction. You can't just be blind and going on the blind, like I say, a blind date. Now that's the blindness. You don't know what you're getting. So let God lead you. That's all I can say. Let God lead you and show you the way and show you what you need. He will tell you what you need. He will tell you what you need. He will tell you what you need. But that's if I don't have a lot. I'm just sitting there learning. Sheila gave me a lot to think about, a lot to and you know, and I'm grateful for her. She's phenomenal. I was just sitting here like I'm in class. Let me got everything on my paper here so I can go back.
I'm sorry.
It was beautiful. I'm glad to be here, and like I said, I never have a lot to say, but I'm just glad to be a part of this platform, that you allowed me to be a part of this platform. I really appreciate you. A friend of mine. I'm grateful for you, and I thank you for you know, just a little tidbits that you even say to me, little encouraging words and little things, you know, even if it's just a day you say, hey, Lady Rhonda, what you doing? Everything okay? What's going on? Blah, blah. It don't even have to be a long story. I appreciate you so much. I really do.
Oh, thank you, sis. You know, it's all love from day one. It's just what it is, you know, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm glad I was obedient to God and who he put on my heart to share this space with. And I appreciate each and every one of you. This conversation has been amazing. Lady Rhonda, your shares were so important and key. And I love, because she's speaking also from a married woman's perspective, and not in perspective of married woman's space, you know, in just that combining together and being able to know your partner. And that's very important, because knowing your partner lets you know how you need to, you know, deal and address them. If they're having a bad day, like, and you might have had a bad day, but guess what? Today's the day I need to put my feelings to the side and I need to cater to him and his feelings, you know, and I need to let him just know, like, okay, babe, whatever you need, you know, and it's okay just to put yourself on the side to cater to him, because we want your husband and your man to be able to get up and get up strong. And if we don't provide that safe space for them, guess what? That their feelings and their emotions just continue to be suppressed and bottled up. And a lot of our men are having, you know, heart attacks and strokes and blood pressure and all other types of issues, because those feelings have to come out somewhere. They go, when they get suppressed, it turns into stress, and that stress shows up in so many other places. So it's important that we ask them, how are you feeling? Men, know that you have a voice and we appreciate you and you are loved. This has been an amazing beginning to our month of June. It's a Man's World series. And my hope is that by the time that this is over, our men feel strengthened, encouraged, empowered, supported, respected, heard, and loved. That's what we want to do in this space on tonight. So before we give our everybody 2 minutes to have their final comments, I want to invite you all back. First of all, let me back up. First, I want to thank the queen bee and curator of this space, Bravo with Sheila, Pastor Sheila Ingram. I told y'all she is everything, for being here tonight, for sharing these nuggets. I wish we had 42 hours with her, because it is so needed. We might have to do like a special Saturday something and just let her go in. But this is so important and so key, because the more we understand ourselves, the better we're able to help and understand others. And it causes us to be gracious towards one another and choose better, know our capacity. So number one, thank you, Pastor Sheila, for always entrusting me every Thursday night for this to be in this captain's chair. I love and appreciate you, my Auntie Bravo. She is my mentor in these YouTube streets. Number one. Number two, I want to invite you all to join us again. Come on back here with me on Thursday night. Next week, we are going to be talking about men's heart health. Today, we're talking about their emotional health. What is their feeling? Or how are you feeling? Next week, we're going to be talking about a man's heart health. What's behind your beat? What is it behind a man's heart? Where is his passion? How can we help support, push, and undergird him as he pursues it? Those dreams that people told him that he could not do and would never be. We want to be able to tap into that, and it's all to bring better understanding. And more of our Men's Lounge squad is going to be joining us in and out as they're available all month long. And next week's special guest is my dear friend and co-author, Pastor Chuck Humphrey, Pastor Charles. We call him Pastor Chuck. He is awesome and amazing. He's going to be new to this space, so please come and join us as we continue our It's a Man's World series honoring our men. So we're going to do that. So I want to go in this order. And everybody, if you could just take 2 minutes, give your final thoughts and comments, and then we're going to wrap up the show. I want Dr. ND to come first, and then Lady Rhonda, if you can follow behind, and then we're going to leave the last comments to our resident male with the guest pass into the ladies' room tonight, and ask you to leave it at the door with security when you do leave, Pastor Chris. So it's only good for tonight. It expires as soon as this podcast is over. You can't duplicate it. So go ahead, Dr. ND. Come on, get 2 minutes to share your final thoughts and comments. Now, I appreciate you, sis. I so love you. That's my girl.
I don't really have much to say tonight, actually.
Okay.
Which is, I don't have much to say tonight. I think a lot was said. I just wrote some questions down, but that's going to be something for me to discuss with my psychology class. I'm good.
That is awesome. I'm glad that you were able to grab and glean, and even, and that's another part of it. The information that we got tonight is something that we should be able to repeat and share with others. And the fact that ND has this, has the option, the opening, the option, and the possibility to share and express, she's taking what she's learned and helping someone else. Well, that's how she is anyway. But I think that is great. So thank you for sharing on tonight, Dr. ND, my sis. Come on, Lady Rhonda. What was your final comments?
I think I'm thankful for being on here. Just remember to keep God first in everything you do. And all your decisions, consult him. Don't just do things on your own. Do things on a whim. Think about what you're doing and consult him, pray about it, and God will lead you. That's
Amen. Amen. Thank you for that. Thank you for your shares and your pours. You are appreciated in more ways than you can imagine. Come on, Pastor Chris, our Men's Lounge representative. Let us have your final 2-minute comments, if you don't mind, sir. Come on and tell us your take on tonight.
Well, it was a lot said, like Dr. Andy said, it was a lot said. So it was a lot written down, especially, knowing your personality trait. That is definite. That was a game changer right there. And knowing how to process your feelings, because especially in, our culture, we tend to express it very aggressively, verbally or physically. And we don't learn the tools necessary to communicate effectively to not only make the situation digress, but to make the person that we are with or what have you, make both parties more healthy. Because when we're in the space of constant communication of battle, we're never going to get anywhere. So just having forums like this, being able to communicate these things and labeling behaviors, that's a game changer. You're getting this for free, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying. So you got to understand that when you finally know who you are and you know where you fit and you know your personality, it's quite obvious that you either need to make changes within yourself or know who to operate with or know who to talk to and who not to talk to. I don't care how fine they look. I don't care if they got a 4-pack 2-pack, 1.5 packs, a dad bod, whatever it is, it don't make a difference. If you know the personality, you know who you are, that will make a difference. And of course, I gotta say this. I'm gonna have my girl Dr. ND on the show on the 28th. So please, y'all don't want to miss that one because it's gonna be, the couch is gonna be on fire by the time it's done. So anyway, yeah, I had to say that. So anyway, I'm done. That was my 2.5 minutes because I timed myself. I'm getting better with my time. So again, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. And of course, family, I love you. See you next time. Same place, same time. As always, this is your boy, this Psalmist Voice, aka Pastor Christopher Newton. I'm done. God bless you.
Well, thank you so much, Pastor Chris, for sharing. And yes, please go over and like and subscribe and share on his platform as well. Because as he said, Dr. Andy will be on the couch. And a great conversation over there as well with him. So again, thank you all for joining us. And we are spending per usual. I'm sorry, it's buffering. The mountains won't let me be great, but I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining. Tune in next Thursday. Make sure you show up the Thursday after that because the men's lounge is going to be here live in color and unhinged. It is the men on the platform talking about the song To Be a Man. So have a great night. Thank you to all. See you next week. Hang out for a minute, team.
Somebody pass around the offering. Since I'm always preaching on track.